Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another ASCII video. A bit different of a video. Usually I make guide videos, but we just got some big PTR notes released by KVAX regarding the Burning Crusade, and we're just going to go through it together. I already read through it. Some things I like, some things I'm not that fond of, but let's get to it. We get some news about TBC, classic era realms, hardcore realms, quality of life changes in TBC, so stick around. It's opening this week. We're getting PTR this week, which is huge. It's very early. It tells me that we're actually going to get TBC end of January. I think we're going to get it super early. So we get to level 270 and we get all the content, Camp Lore, Eastern Kingdoms, and Outland. And it's patch 2.5.5. We get to go and test out some stuff. I get to go make my mage guide videos before we get pre-patch, which I love. I love the fact that I get to make some videos for you guys that you can use on launch. I'm definitely going to go make some Paladin videos on the PTR if we have time for it. Mage videos on the PTR. So make sure you sub if you want some mage guide videos. Anyways, Heroism / Bloodlust is now a raid-wide buff with a 10-minute debuff. Sated exhaustion debuff. I don't love this. One thing I like about TBC raiding is the fact that you can rotate in Bloodlust, you can get double Bloodlust. Obviously, Warcraft locks, if you're a min-max Warcraft locks Andy, they will probably impose more restrictions on parses and like how many buffs you can get per raid, per character, etc. So I think even with this, maybe it would have gotten limited by Warcraft locks anyways, but I'm not too big of a fan of this, but I also don't mind. All right, it's like it's a minor thing to me, although I would love if they just kept it the same. But yeah, thank the Lord that it resets on boss kills and wipes, so you have Heroism ready for every attempt and you don't have to wait 10 minutes in between attempts. The rest of this is kind of like just quality of life things. I'll link this blue post in the description below, by the way, if you want to read it yourself. Now, the thing that we're getting, which I think is really nice, is that Heroic Dungeons attunements and raid attunements are going to be sort of account wide, right? So in regards to Heroic Dungeons, you just got to do it on the first character, which requires revert reputation level after being fully attuned, I assume. And then upon doing so, you can purchase a bag that contains bind on Battle.net account keys you can send to your alts. I think that's great. And I also like that they put a little bit of a minimum requirement for the alts to use this key, just so you don't nuke the content that leads up to getting attuned. You definitely want people to still do the content. So it's not just a few that has to do it on their own. Love that, actually. It's a thing in TBC. I remember finding it so bothersome to level a new character and having to attune them to the dungeons, to the raids. It was bothersome. It took a lot of time and nobody enjoyed it. There's no one, I met 0 people who was like, oh, I loved getting attuned for the Black Temple on my 4th character. So same thing about raids. First character will be required to fully attune. But upon doing so, that will be unlocked for all characters on the Battle.net account. You don't even have to send keys. They're just attuned. Love that. This I hate. And I don't say hate very easily. I really dislike this. I dislike that they will release the raids in their post-nerf state. None of the raids are impossible to do in the pre-nerf state. All right, they're not impossible. They're difficult. They can be difficult, but not impossible at all. And I think I remember it being pretty fun trying to, you know, clear SSC, TK in the pre-nerf state. It being a bit of a challenge was fun to me. I do understand that there was a lot of guilds that kind of broke under these terms of pre-nerf state, that it was too difficult, they couldn't progress, and they ended up losing players to other guilds that did manage to clear. I think for the average gamer that doesn't play as avidly as the rest of us, this is nice, but personally, I don't like this. I would want the pre-nerf state of the raids. I wouldn't even mind if they nerf it faster than they usually do. I wouldn't mind if it was like, you get 4 resets of no nerf, and then we're gonna nerf it. I don't like that it's off the bat nerfed, but that's just me. Arenas. Now, I do understand that they're trying to encourage players to play arena, and I love that. During the original Burning Crusade expansion, it felt good to make a team that started at 1500 and throw together some people to participate in 10 games to receive points each week without having to climb back up from 0. With the Anniversary Edition, they're interested in bringing that team's feeling back by encouraging players to participate in the system more than ever before. However, as we lean into the feeling of teams, we want you to be able to play with whomever you like without requiring you to make a team. So arena points earned are still based on your individual rating. So each character's rating now starts at 1500 instead of 0. Once per week per character, you can pay gold to reset your rating back to 1500. Only possible if you're below 1500 currently. If you're above that, you cannot reset it. So for the higher performance players that are sitting way above 1500 rating, this will not have any effect. It won't affect you at all. The only thing it will affect is the lower rated players that get a chance to reset it and get points based on a higher rating than they might be able to maintain otherwise. But yeah, so the gold will vary based on your team's bracket. Interesting what's that gonna mean, right? They don't give any certain numbers here. And each bracket 2v2, 3v3, 5v5 has its own weekly reset. So you can reset each of them individually, so you don't have to reset all of them when you buy a reset, is what I'm reading in here. There are no requirements enabled to be able to purchase PvP gear for any pieces except for shoulders and weapons. I think before weapons rating was higher, like the requirement was higher than 1700. I don't remember what shoulders were, but I don't mind this either. There was rating requirements on other pieces, but the rating requirement was kind of low, so it wasn't really gatekeeping anyone. I don't know if they need to remove the requirement if you can buy 1500, if you're 1500 instantly, right? By just resetting it. You only have to push at worst 500 rating, which might be impossible for most people, but I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal either way. I understand they want to maintain the prestige of being good in an arena and you get to show off some cool shoulders or weapons or such. So I like that they keep at least some rating requirements for certain pieces. But yeah, I don't mind the overall cost of PvP gear being lowered. All of this is telling me like the fact that we're going to get a post-nerf state of raids. We're going to get lower pricing on arena points or arena gear. And you get to like reset, like earn more arena points if you're a lower performing arena player. It's what I want to say. I don't know if that's the right term to use, but it's telling me that we're going to get a sped up rate of TBC phases. That's what I think. That's what I'm reading into this, right? But yeah, the item set bonuses for each of the factions' reputation PvP gear sets have been combined with their honor gear equivalents, so you can more easily hit those 2 and 4 piece set bonuses. That's fine with me. And you can buy the faction reputation PvP gear at the first arena season instead of later on. I think that's fine. Get people into the arena. I don't know about the 1500 rating reset thing. I think that mechanic is going to feed some of the actual 1600 rated players to like win some easy games each week, and they'll get 100 200 rating higher than they're technically supposed to be because they get fed those points. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not affecting the top 10% of players, and I think those are the ones who would mind it the most if they change arena. So yeah, I don't mind. I don't know if you guys will mind. Now we will get realm type transfers and feature updates. So you get to transfer your anniversary character to Era, and I love that. I was getting scared that we wouldn't get to transfer to Era. I was hoping that we would get to copy, because I kind of want to bring my warriors into TBC and I want to bring them to Era. And I wouldn't mind paying for it either, but I don't see any option here to copy. And in the grand scheme of things, I'm just glad I get to move my character to Era either way. I am going to play TBC, but I really want those Era characters because I really enjoy playing the classic raids as well. So we can start November 25th. That's in a hot minute. That is next week, a week from now. We get to transfer to Era. And it will close January 12th. So you have a long window to do it. Obviously, you don't have to do it November 25th. If you want to rate some more classic with your characters, you just keep them in until January 12th. This is telling me unofficial pre-patch around January 12th. Which day is that? January, that's a Monday. Makes sense to me with the reset. We're gonna get pre-patch January 13. I'm assuming. So after that date, you will no longer be able to move to Era from Anniversary. Makes sense. There's some hardcore Anniversary things. I do not play hardcore, so I would recommend you go read this yourself, but it seems like you get to transfer to normal non-hardcore Anniversary realms, so you can bring them into TBC. So there's no TBC hardcore realms yet, I think they write. So if you don't transfer within the window as well here, you will be able to transfer to Era whenever you die. So that's kind of what I am getting out of this. Here they say, as there are no Burning Crusade hardcore realms during the transfer window. I think that's an interesting sentence that we need to pay attention to. So it won't be up during, it might be released with TBC itself. So, you know, after pre-patch, as it launches, maybe we get Burning Crusade hardcore realms. I think that will be exciting. I don't think TBC is a great expansion for hardcore. I think it's going to be extremely difficult, especially if you want to raid. But it is what it is. It'll be fun to like watch as content, you know. So this is important too, the classic Era changes. We will get dual spec on Era, we'll get instant mail, and we'll get the dungeon finder tool. I think that's great. Great changes. I kind of wish they would remove the buff cap and the debuff cap on Era as well. I'm sure there's some Era Andes out there who's like, no man, I love having 26 cancel aura macros in my Bloodthirst, you know. I love yelling at my Wrestler Druid for putting up a hot on me because he pushed off my Mongoose, you know. I don't know. I think it would be lovely if they would remove the buff cap, debuff cap, but I do understand that there is people playing Era right now that never played Fresh, and they hate the Fresh changes. They hate dual spec, they hate all that. So I think it's a good middle ground to get dual spec, instant mail, and dungeon finder, and hopefully later on they'll make some more changes. They don't have any other changes planned for Classic Era as part of this update. Keep that in mind, as part of this update. I think they're kind of feeling out how people react. Personally, I would love remove the buff, debuff cap. It really makes it more fun to play certain classes that don't get to use certain spells. It makes it more fun for certain players to use certain weapons, because on Era right now, if you use like a certain weapon that puts a debuff up on the boss, you'll get yelled at. Don't use that weapon. You're pushing off Sunders, or I don't know, you know? I think that's a gimmicky mechanic anyways with a cap. Obviously, you can't push off your DMF debuff without the cap. So there's some win-lose things here, right? You get some comments here, recognize that there's some hesitation to all of this from the Classic Era and original hardcore environments. So let's take it slow. Let's see how people react. I agree with that. Overall, I think this is a great changes. I'm not dooming about it. I do not like the Heroism Bloodlust change. And I do not like the post-nerf state release of raids. Those are the two things I really don't like. Everything else, I'm either neutral or I like. I definitely like the attunement parts, the raid attunement and heroic dungeon attunements. So yeah, that's the video for today, guys. If you enjoy the video, make sure you hit me with a like, comment, hit me with a sub. If you disagree with me, I really want to hear your disagreements in the comment section below. It's not like we're gonna argue, keep the tone nice, but I would like to hear what you guys think about these changes coming from maybe an Era Andy perspective and maybe a changes person kind of vibe, you know, someone who loves changes. You know what else I would love on Era? Rend buff for Alliance. You know, I don't know what you call it. I think they had it out at some point. Stormwind, rallying, whatever, right? But basically just rent version for Alliance. I would love that. Anyways, thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.